it's Jenny from Homestead Corner. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about shortages. I hope y'all are doing great. Oh my goodness, we have been super busy and swamped here, and I have not been able to make as many videos as I'd like to. I really wanted to. I try to get one out every day, but sometimes life just catches up and I just can't get to it. So I do try. But I did see yesterday that the pipeline paid the ransom, so they got control back of the pipeline. So hopefully everyone is feeling a little bit better about that. They're saying the shortages could still last a while, though, into Memorial Weekend. The pipeline doesn't come way up here where we are, so we haven't, we saw a little bit of gas prices jumping, but we haven't really seen much other than that. I did hear from friends across the country that they're not even on the pipeline, but they experience running out of gas because people were so frightened that they were going to run out of gas that they just went out and went nuts getting gas and, stocking up all these tanks, buying gas tanks, and they're just going, hoarding up all the gas. We should be prepared for this kind of stuff. When this kind of stuff happens, we need to be prepared. And, I have not got gas for, I don't know, 5 days maybe, and I will need to get a little bit of gas next time I go out, probably. I'll top it off, but we keep the tanks full, and that's something that we need to keep on top of, making sure that if we have tanks to run our equipment at home or extra gas for our vehicles or whatever it is, if you have extra tanks, you should be keeping those full all the time and rotate that gas out. Don't leave it there sitting for 5 years, because then it isn't going to be any good. But 6 months, you want to rotate that gas out. And it's definitely a good idea to keep those stocked up. So places like I have heard, I think it's just crazy. They weren't on the pipeline. They weren't in any type of shortage, except people freaked out, overbought, and caused it. So, it stinks for everybody else, So as long as we're keeping stocked up, we're good, and we're not part of this. And there's just so much going on with there's still all kinds of shipping issues, with coming in the ports, leaving ports, all that stuff. There's still all kinds of stuff. So we still are seeing random shortages here and there. And, like cars are still having these chip shortages. It's just, things are just a mess. And this is one thing piled on top of another. Things are not going to get better. If you have been slacking off on your preps, please, now is not the time. We have been looking at our preps, see what we have, making sure, holes are filled, all the gaps are filled and stuff like that. We've decided to up certain areas of our preps, and that's important to go through every now and then, and look at what do you have, what do you go through the most of, those are where you want to stock up more. And some of the things that I don't use the most, but when something happens and I have to dip into those preps, I am going to be using more of items that I don't normally use. So I'm looking at more long-term on the, like, wheat berries, corn, things that are going to last long-term. Flour is great to have on hand. We keep a decent amount of flour, but it only lasts about 6, 7, maybe 10 years if you've got it vacuum sealed up and stored in an airtight bucket and stuff. But I've heard up to 10 years. I personally have we're eating flour that is 6 years old, so I know it's still good after 6 years, but I have heard other people have gone as far up to 10 years and it was still good with no issues. So that's a great thing to have on hand, but beyond that 10 years, is there, and I don't have enough room in my house for 10 years worth of flour. I don't know if you guys do, or anywhere that I would store food, I would have to buy another house to store 10 years worth of food. So I think I have a lot of mouths to feed, so we can only store so much. But we're looking at different longer term stuff that we can put away and not touch. And we try to keep everything rotated, but some of that long term stuff can sit and it's okay. It doesn't, you don't need to touch it. The beans are going to be fine. The rice is going to be fine. We usually rotate that stuff because we normally eat it. So, it's not going to be a big shocker when shit really hits the fan. We already eat that stuff, and we already, we rotate it and we keep a decent amount available for us. So I think that's some more things that, we really need to kick it into high gear with your food and make sure you have plenty of water. If you are dependent on water filters when the grid goes down, make sure you have plenty in stock. If the grid goes down for a year, do you have enough? Do you have enough filters? And, do you have a place where you can continue to get water? We collect rain and things like that, but rain, it doesn't always rain. It's really early in the spring, and usually our barrels are pretty full pretty much through the spring, and they get a little low in the summertime, but it's still pretty early on in the spring, and our barrels are getting low already. So because we use them for gardening and we use them for all kinds of stuff, and it's just, we want to make sure that we have another option. You need a backup for your backup, and and a backup for that, plan A, B, C, D, and E just in case. You just never know. And this just the shipping problems, the drought, I mean, there is definitely food problems on the horizon, worse than anything we've seen, I think. So we really need to pay attention to this, and we need to make sure we have enough for our families, and so we can take care of them. So with all this stuff going on, I mean, everything is compiling together, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. It's, there's more to come. This rodeo isn't over, I'm sure. And I just hope you all are working on those preps. Keep a close eye on, what you've got, where you're using the most. Those are the things you want to focus on. Get those in there. Things that you think you're going to need. If you buy bread at the store all the time, grab extra flour, wheat berries, and if you got wheat berries, make sure you got a grinder. You want to make sure that you can actually use the stuff that you're purchasing. So I have heard of people having tons of wheat berries and no grinder, and you need one to make flour. Unless you're going to use a rock, and that is a lot of work. You don't want to do that. So, and I would love to know how you all are doing. Do you have shortages in your area on gas? How are the shelves in your area? Our shelves are okay. They're not great. They definitely are not the greatest, but there's stuff there, so there's still stuff to buy, and that's a good thing. And the prices are getting pretty steep on some things, but you could still get hot dogs for 99 cents here, and the cheap hot dogs, and you can get a couple of things still pretty inexpensive. But a lot of the stuff, the things that people really want, they're climbing, and they're climbing fast. So let me know how you're doing. I would love to hear. Are you in the pipeline area? Do you have gas? My worry is always that someone is not able, you don't have enough gas, you can't get to the doctors or get the help that you need, or something that you need that's a necessity. But I hope you all have plenty, and I hope, you're able to get to your appointments and to where you need to go. And hopefully this clears up before Memorial Day, but I was reading an article that said it could definitely last that long, these issues with the gas, because they're slow. It's a slow process, I guess. That is it for today. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.